Our economy is in a very weird place. I mean, the Federal Reserve Bank says that the economy as we know it might be coming to an end, and this is kind of amplified with now talks of another round of lockdowns on the horizon. And on top of that, we keep hearing about this great reset that might be happening. So if you're wondering what the heck is happening in the economy, what's coming, and what you can do to protect your wallet and capitalize on what's going on, make sure you watch this video until the end. What's up everybody, I am Jaspreet Singh from theMinorityMindset.com and welcome to The Minority Mindset. Our economy is hurting. Right now, 6.9% of people in the United States are unemployed. That's 11.4 million Americans that are out of a job. Now, to put this in perspective, back in 2008, the unemployment numbers were the highest in December when the unemployment numbers hit 7.2%. So this is 2008. Right now in 2020 and going into 2021, our unemployment numbers are not that far off from 2008. Many businesses are not making the type of money that they were before, so they're being forced to downsize and lay off their employees, and other businesses are going out of business completely. Between March and November 2020, after the first round of lockdowns, more than 100,000 businesses shut down permanently. That's restaurants, stores, hospitality businesses, car rental businesses. Now we're facing a potential second round of lockdowns, which would put these business closures on steroids. By the way, I already made a video where I talked about this potential second round of lockdowns in the United States. And if you haven't seen this video yet, I will link it for you in the description below. Cities and states around the country have been taking matters into their own hands. Chicago, Michigan, California, New Jersey. And so even if we don't see another round of nationwide lockdowns, chances are we're going to see a whole lot more state and local restrictions. And I just got to say this, I am very thankful to be in America because other parts of the world are not so, let's call it free, because I just saw this video of in China, they found two workers in the airport who tested positive for this virus. And as soon as they found that, they shut down the entire area. They shut down the entire airport, the whole area, and now you had 100,000 people that were forcibly against their means locked down and quarantined in the small location. They had nowhere to go and it was a crazy sight to see. It has been a very strange time, and now as it looks like we're coming to the end of this pandemic, it is going to get very strange for the economy and your wallet, which is why you need to understand what's going on, which is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. But before we do that, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below. We live in a credit-based economy. What that means is our economy runs on spending. The more money you spend, the more money somebody else makes, and the more our economy grows. I'm not saying this is right, this is just how our economy works. So you go to work and you get paid. Now you have some money in your bank account and you can go out and you can rent a home, and you can go out and you can buy a car, and you can go on a nice vacation, and you can go out to eat, and you can do all these things. When you spend money, now, this landlord makes money and they have money to go out and do other things. And this car salesperson makes money, so they have money to go out and go on vacation and eat things. And now this restaurant owner makes money, so they can go out and they can buy other things, and on and on and on. So the more money you spend, the more money somebody else has, and the more money they have to go out and spend, which fuels this economic system. I called it a credit-based economy because most people don't spend what they make. They spend a lot more than that through the help of credit, loans and debt. What that does is it allows the economy to grow faster, because if you run a business and if people only had $100 to spend in your business, you might make $1,000. But if people had $200 to spend at your business, because now they can go out and qualify for more loans, now your business can make twice as much money because people can qualify for more credit. So our whole economic system is built around people earning money and spending money, which is why lockdowns can throw the whole economic system out of whack. When the first round of lockdowns happened in 2020, the entire economic system was shut down because now people were not going to work and people didn't have money to spend, and people were not even allowed to go out and spend because businesses were shut down, so spending stopped. Many businesses were shut down almost overnight, and so people lost their jobs almost overnight. And so when people didn't have jobs, they stopped making money, but they still needed groceries and they still had a housing payment to make. The economy stopped working naturally. That's when the government and the Federal Reserve Bank, the Fed, came together to create a system to artificially pump the economy. The Fed is the central banking system of the United States, and they did two things. First in the form of interest rates, and second in the form of stimulus. The Fed controls interest rates, and interest rates determine how much money you have to pay on the money that you borrow. This is where things get very interesting because, like I said just a minute ago, we live in a credit-based society where people spend money not based off of how much money they have, but based off of how much money they borrow. Let's assume for simplicity that you can only afford to borrow $100. If that's all you can afford, the only way that you can borrow more money is if you earn more money because now you have more money, so you're more creditworthy, or if interest rates come down because now it's cheaper to borrow more money. So to help stimulate the economy, the Federal Reserve Bank slashed interest rates to new lows to make it cheaper and easier for people to borrow money and spend money. Remember, when the lockdowns were enacted, people stopped spending money. And so to encourage more spending, the Federal Reserve Bank cut interest rates to make borrowing money cheaper. That way people are more likely to go out and spend money. Again, I'm not telling you this is what you should be doing. I'm telling you this is how the system works. But it's not just people that benefit from lower interest rates. Businesses benefit as well because businesses get to borrow money for cheap and they get to invest this money into their business to grow. And when a business grows, that means they make more money, which means they can hire more employees, which means more people have jobs and an income to spend. But naturally, cutting interest rates by itself wasn't enough to keep the economy moving, so the Federal Reserve Bank had to do the second thing, which was fund new stimulus programs. The United States government sent out stimulus checks to people, they bailed out businesses, and they created new grants and programs to help people and businesses stay afloat. This sounds really nice. I mean, who doesn't want free money? The only problem with this is free money is the most expensive kind of money there is because, well, the government doesn't just have a couple $1 trillion sitting in a vault somewhere. The United States is drowning in debt. And so in order to get the trillions of dollars to fund all these programs, the United States government had to work with the Federal Reserve Bank to print this money. I've talked about the cost of printing free money on our channel many times, so I'm not going to go over it again in this video, which is why if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that. But now this money was sent out to people, it was sent out to businesses, and it was pumped into the market to inflate the stock market to keep the economy moving because now the economy was just given an injection of free cash. These two programs created a housing boom because interest rates have never been this low before, so people have been buying homes like crazy to capitalize on these low mortgage rates, and they've been refinancing like crazy, which is good because they're now saving a ton of money on their mortgage, but they also haven't fixed the problem. 12 million Americans are on pace to lose their government benefits in December 2020. When that happens, that's when we can see the house of cards start to crumble unless something is done to help the economy start working naturally, or unless we get more stimulus from the government and the Fed to artificially keep the economy moving. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with what I mean when I say there's a cost to printing free money, I will link that for you in the description below. The Federal Reserve Bank is concerned about the economy. The chairman, Jerome Powell, had a meeting where he said that the economy as we know it might be coming to an end. The problem is we have all these people out of a job, and while this pandemic was going on, the economy evolved very quickly. The businesses that boomed were the ones that were tech focused, and the ones that failed were the ones that weren't. Technology naturally shifts the job market, but this pandemic put this job shift on hyperspeed because all the money during this pandemic flowed to tech jobs while the other jobs and the other industries kind of became extinct. 4 of the most popular jobs in America are cashiers, retail salespeople, stocking assistants, and laborers. This is the #1 most popular job in America. This is the 6th most popular job in America, the 7th most popular job in America, and the 8th most popular job in America. Well, we don't need these jobs the way we did 10 years ago, and we really don't need these jobs the way we did a year ago. Technology drives change, but this pandemic has made that change come much faster than anyone anticipated. Like, we don't need or even want cashiers anymore because that means human contact and you don't want to be coughing on somebody else, so cashiers have become much less valuable. Retail salespeople aren't as valuable because now everybody's shopping online. Stocking assistants are not needed anymore because there are robots that do that for you, and laborers are not as important because now there are machines that do it for you. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this because this is the reality and the concern of what's happening in the economy, because some of the most popular jobs in America are becoming extinct faster than before, and now many people are worried about how people are going to get their jobs back once the economy opens back up, because right now the economy has been kept afloat through this pumping of free money, but eventually this free money is going to go away, and when that happens, if we have all these people that are out of a job, we're going to see a very painful economic recovery. That's why you might have heard talks about something called the Great Reset. The World Economic Forum has been pushing this whole message of a Great Reset, where the World Economic Forum works with governments to create this new economy and this new world that supposedly works for the people. Quick disclaimer, I like to talk about things that I'm very familiar with, and I try to avoid the things that I'm not too familiar with, and the Great Reset is one of those things that I'm not too familiar with. I spent a few hours trying to understand it, but I am definitely no expert at what this Great Reset is. But from my rough understanding of this, it is a way for the governments to kind of create a new economy that is supposed to work for the people, that is supposed to be more sustainable to help us get out of this pandemic. But naturally, people have been very skeptical of this because that requires the government creating a new economic system that you have to hope will be better for you. Personally, I have never been a fan of the idea of relying on the government to take care of me financially, because I want to be self-sufficient and I want to do everything I can to take care of myself and not hope that someone else is going to look out for me. What we've seen happen in 2020 is people have become skeptical to everything. I mean, people have become skeptical to whether this virus even exists, to government programs, to lockdowns, to masks, to the election results, to vaccines, to taxes, to the earth being round. The United States is supposed to be a free market economy, which means the strong survive and the weak fail. Now, people have become really skeptical towards this idea because the United States government starts to get involved, and then when they start to get involved, the government decides who they want to help and who they don't. That's why people don't like the idea of the government deciding how the economy should look after the pandemic. Think of it this way. If the government was in charge of deciding how the economy should look after the pandemic, then the government could say, okay, the only businesses that should survive should be businesses that are run by business owners who have beards. If you do not have a beard, then your business should not be allowed to survive anymore. It sounds a little crazy, but that's kind of what happens when the government gets to decide who they want to support and who they don't. When the first round of lockdowns happened, the government decided that they wanted to bail out the airline industry with a whole lot of money, but they didn't want to bail out the retail industry. Both of these industries were struggling, but one got a bailout, the other didn't. That's one of the reasons why you saw so many stores go bankrupt, but you did not see the same thing happen in the airline industry. And it's not just businesses. You saw the same thing happen with people too. When the pandemic started and the lockdowns happened, you had people, essential workers, working 40, 50, 60-hour weeks that were making barely above minimum wage, while you had other people that got laid off from their jobs, that were sitting at home doing nothing, making more money in unemployment, while you had all these other people who were working every single day, making less money just because they weren't one of the people that were let go from their jobs. Again, this is not me trying to tell you what's right and what's wrong. This is what the government said was right and wrong, and this is what they funded. That's the first reason why people have become so skeptical of everything going on in the world. And the second reason is naturally because of social media, because with social media, we get to live in our own bubbles, and once we start to believe something, then we go down a rabbit hole where all we see is our beliefs and anything else looks like it's stupid. Now, while this all sounds like bad news and there's no hope for the economy, let me give you a counterpoint, because yes, this is a new economy, but every economy is a new economy. People keep spitting out all this scary information because they say this is a new economy and we're not ready for this, but every new economy is a new economy. I mean, when the Industrial Revolution happened, people said the same thing. It was a new economy. When the internet came out, it was the same thing. It was a new economy. When social media came out, it was the same thing. It was a new economy. When you enter a new economy, people learn and they adapt. That's just what happens in a new economy. And then people say, oh, but this time is different because technology is moving so fast. Yeah, that's true. But that also happens in every new economy. I mean, in the 1900s, technology was moving fast for its time. And in 2000, technology was moving fast for its time. Now, in this post-pandemic world, technology is moving fast for our time. Jim Collins is the author of a book called Good to Great. And this book came out back in 2001. And in that book, he talks about a concept called the new economy, because he says that businesses have been pitching the idea of a new economy for decades because it is a way for them to raise money, and it's a way for people to get behind their mission, because people can pitch the idea of a new economy and get people behind them. But we are always in a new economy. What we've seen happen time and time again is that when things are bad, things are usually not as bad as people say they are. And when times are good, things are usually not as good as people say they are. Right now, our economy is really walking a thin line. we have tons of people out of a job, and we have a lot of issues that could come up. And so the government and the Fed are doing everything they can to prevent a double dip recession because they don't want to see 2021 go into a deeper economic crisis. That's why the Fed keeps cutting interest rates to new lows, which is why it has become so profitable for people to go out and refinance on their mortgages, because people are saving tons of money on their mortgages just by refinancing. By the way, we have a ton of articles on our website about how you can refinance your mortgage and save a ton of money. You can read them at theminoritymindset.com, and I'll also link an article for you up here and in the description below. But there's also a lot of uncertainty ahead, and so you cannot really predict exactly what's going to happen because Donald Trump keeps saying that he doesn't want to have more lockdowns, and Joe Biden, on the other hand, says that he'd be open for another round of national lockdowns. So we don't know if we're going to see another round of lockdowns, and if we do, we don't know how severe they're going to be. In either case, the real test is going to be when this pandemic goes away, because that's when the economy is going to open back up, and that's when we're going to see how strong our economy actually is, because our economy cannot be on life support forever. There are so many government programs out there right now that are keeping people afloat. We have state unemployment programs, we have the mortgage forbearance program, we have eviction moratoriums, we have the pandemic unemployment assistance program. There is a lot of uncertainty ahead, and with uncertainty comes a lot of emotional and irrational selling of assets, which creates opportunity for you. The best thing that you can do right now is get your money right and start stacking your cash. That way you have money ready. That way when an opportunity comes your way, an investment opportunity, you can jump on it. When people are scared, they sell. We've seen that happen in every asset class. And so what you want to do is you want to have cash ready. That way over the next 12 to 24 months, as these things start to unfold, because there's a lot of uncertainty ahead, you have the resources ready to jump on opportunities as they come your way, because you want to come out of this crisis a financial winner, not somebody who gets abused by the system. I don't know what it will be or when it will happen, but the only way you can take advantage of it is if you have the cash ready to do that. And the worst case is that the economy recovers very quickly and then you are angry at me because you have a big bank account. I'll be okay with that. If you enjoyed this video, here's the video that I think you'll love, and while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our free finance and business newsletter, and as always, keep hustling. This virus has taken a toll on the economy, and we're starting to see cities shut down for the second time. And now if Joe Biden comes into office and he mandates a nationwide lockdown, it is going to affect the economy